Good afternoon, everyone. Um, I am Melvin Rubiano, your student engagement partner for this webinar session, and I would like to welcome you for our current first uh, webinar session, which is entitled "Future of Works." So before we begin, I would like to walk you through to the tool that we will be using for this webinar session. So this is our current webinar tool. So as you can see, you can also navigate your uh, your virtual hand if you want to raise any questions or clarifications for our future speaker or for our speaker for today. So for you guys, I would just like to ask to click the virtual hand just to confirm if you can hear me. All right, great. I'm seeing some hands. So also to get a better view of the session, you may also use the arrow on your dock. So this will be able to hide your tool for the window. So if you have any questions as well, you may type um, in our question portion. So you can chat or type in your questions and then press send. And the PMAP team and the CDM team will be um, addressing those concerns and questions. So for later, after the webinar session, you may just be able to click File and then exit Leave Webinar to leave the session. So to begin our webinar session, I'll be turning over the presenter rights to our speaker for a few introduction.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon once again, and welcome to the first PMAP webinar session for 2017. So for today's topic, our esteemed speaker will be discussing about the future of work. And this webinar will show you how the future of work looks like and how we can prepare for it as proactive strategic HR partners. Now, let me introduce to you our speaker for this afternoon session. He is a seasoned HR executive and a talent acquisition expert. He manages multiple centers of excellence in recruitment and talent management across the region. His specialties include the following: sourcing strategies, workforce planning, talent acquisition and management, HR recruitment processes, employment branding and marketing communications, and client relationship management. But more than anything, he is the president of a premier human capital solutions partner in the Philippines and Asia, Asia Select Incorporated. He's recognized as one of the talent experts in managing recruitment solutions across various industries. He is also an active leader in the Philippines HR community, People Management Association of the Philippines, Additionally, he is a certified associate fellow in personnel management. Prior to joining Asia Select Incorporated, he worked for 8 years in ZMG Ward Howell. Also, he served as a country recruitment leader for Genpact, where he was responsible for its growth in banking and financial services. He completed his executive education at the IESE in Barcelona, New York, and Munich. He has proven success in delivering value-added service both in volume and executive search, with a specialization in the BPO, call center, ITO, and shared service industry. He also has supported search assignments across the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, and Africa. Without further ado, let me now introduce to you Mr. Engelbert E. Kamasura. After this video,
There is something going on in the world of work today. Some kind of a evolution that's forcing organizations to think differently about what it means to be an employee or a manager, and even what it means to actually work. There are 5 trends that are causing this evolution to happen. 5 trends that are forcing organizations to challenge everything they know about work. These 5 trends are globalization, mobility, millennials and changing demographics, new behaviors, and technology. Globalization is causing the world to become like one giant city. The language that you speak, the culture that you subscribe to, the currency that you transact in, and where you are physically located are all starting to matter much less. This means that organizations can tap into talent anywhere in the world.
I'll try to replay the video. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Something going on in the world of work today. Some kind of a evolution that's forcing organizations to think differently about what it means to be an employee or a manager, and even what it means to actually work. There are 5 trends that are causing this evolution to happen. 5 trends that are forcing organizations to challenge everything they know about work. These 5 trends are globalization, mobility, millennials and changing demographics, new behaviors, and technology. Globalization is causing the world to become like one giant city. The language that you speak, the culture that you subscribe to, the currency that you transact in, and where you are physically located are all starting to matter much less. This means that organizations can tap into talent anywhere in the world. Mobility is allowing us to stay connected to people and information anytime, anywhere, and on any device. This means that work is no longer a place you go to, It's something that you carry with you in your pocket wherever you are. Millennials are expected to comprise 50% of the workforce by 2020 and 75% of the workforce by 2025. Millennials are digital natives that expect and want to work in ways that reflect the year we live in. Most people live in 2015, but work at companies that operate like they are in 1975. Although millennials are driving enormous organizational change, it's important to remember that the future employee is anyone that is changing their behavior and mindset to adapt to the changing workforce. This means it doesn't matter if that person is 22 or 62. New behaviors are rapidly entering our organizations. For example, we are all comfortable living a more public life. We share our thoughts in blogs, post reviews on Yelp, have our entire professional history on LinkedIn, share pictures on Instagram, rant on Twitter, and engage in open conversations on Facebook. In fact, virtually every aspect of business behavior has changed, including the way we share, communicate, collaborate, teach, learn, find information, access technology, and create content. This is forcing organizations to fundamentally rethink and reimagine the way we work. Technologies such as big data, wearable devices, collaboration platforms, the Internet of Things, and cloud computing are enabling us to work in new ways while keeping us more engaged and productive. In the future of work, technology is the central nervous system of the organization that enables everything else to function. Together, these 5 trends, combined with an unprecedented war for talent, is forcing organizations to shift their mentality from creating a place where they assume employees need to work there to creating an environment where employees want to work there. When we think about the future of work, the organizations that can most effectively make this shift from need to want are the ones who will be able to attract and retain top talent. This means that if your organization doesn't think about and plan for the future of work, then your organization will have no future.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Gilbert Kamasula, and I hope you had a restful, long holiday. And it's a pleasure to join the rest of the group. I think we have a very good number of participants, and very timely that we're taking future of work in this kind of format where we're powered by webinar. And I think thanks to People Management Association of the Philippines, through the initiative of Michelle Garcia, of course, that the future of work is actually happening now. So let me walk you through quickly on what to expect in this program. While from the research work that the Society of Human Resource Management has done. Actually, this would take around a day or two for us to fully grasp and understand the entire concept of how do we get our organization, ourselves ready for the future of work. Tremendous forces are radically reshaping the world of work as we know it. There will be a lot of disruptive innovations that are creating new industries and business models that are creating the old ones are the habit of what we've been doing in the past. The new technologies and the data analytics including social networks, are having huge impact on how we communicate, we collaborate and work. Many of the roles and job titles tomorrow will be the ones that we've not even thought of yet, or even not heard of. So let me join everybody to take this journey and simulate what will happen and what our roles will be in the future of work. If we look back, in the future of work, in the
in the
1700s,
1700s,
we know for a fact
that
that
it was
it
highly
was highly driven by mechanical production.
a lot of
A lot of those infrastructures were built around railroads,
power supply
power supply,
eventually moved
eventually
on
moved on to mass production of power,
assembly
assembly line, mass production of many things. So very mechanical. Move on to 1969, where there were automations, electronics were first introduced. You had your computers, and then lately in the 19 lately and now actually we've been looking at and we've been experiencing what we call the artificial intelligence and seeing more and experiencing more. If you look at the world's largest accommodation, in our current times, who would have thought that the world's largest accommodation, Airbnb, wouldn't really have their own real estate or properties, right? Where we enjoy our popular media, the content of what and how we communicate with each one, which we call social media. Facebook owns it with large and millions of members without really owning its own media center. Alibaba, who owns and sells most of the products that we enjoy, home, office, effects, electronics, they actually don't own any of. Now Uber and Grab, not having any single car, would actually manage to drive everyone to and from the office and so on. Now, what do we see more coming? No? Who do you think would be the largest rail company that will manage the entire rail across the world without really owning trains? Who do you think of our companies that we work for will be the largest parking company without really owning a parking or a space, right? And the largest mobility company having no telecommunication platform or no asset at all. And who do you think would be the largest car company that actually does not manufacture at all any vehicle? If you look at how, and this is based on the research done by SHRM or the SHRM, we were actually the emerging 5 forces of change as a result of the future of work are the following: the exponential pattern of technology change, the social and organization reconfiguration, a truly connected world, a very inclusive and very diverse talent market, and lastly, human and machine collaboration. Now let me walk you through quickly on defining, say, the exponential pattern of technology and change. Disruptions through technological breakthroughs and the rapid adoption of new technology will actually lead businesses to respond by faster and more accurate adaptation to rapid reinvention. A lot of our businesses are actually influenced. If you look at how each of the new companies that are adapted to the current platform of technology, such as iCloud and infrastructure, they are basically investing more on technology as we speak. And the workforce will drive this force through their behavior and preference, but it will also bring job loss and skill obsolescence. So it's very threatening for anyone actually in the future of work if we do not allow our employees or ourselves to adapt to the current times of having technology change happening in this world. Our job will probably be not needed. And this will create continuous workers losing job, otherwise adapt to the new models of work and the organization. Okay, having brought that technology in the workplace and in businesses, let's look at the aspect of the force of change on the social and organizational reconfiguration. I would probably be speaking like technical jargon, please just chat and let me know if you need to clarify eventually later on. We'll have that. But let me quickly on these 5 forces of change, because this is a good basis of the BC model of the future of work. As the workforce exerts more control over how we work, more power balance and less authoritative and structured will have to be influenced by the social networks and less through hierarchy. Our work relations will be more project-based, as compared to right now. In fact, this would have, this could probably be an issue in our country, knowing that our government is, pushing to have more full-time employment. With the social and the organizational reconfiguration, actually our job would only be good for as long as it's needed. It's very temporary. It's very adaptive to how technology is driving business climate. But again, this could be debatable, and I wonder how this would be taken up by PMAP. But this is one of the format that we're talking about. Like, do we really need each and every one to be full time when in fact the future of work would require only jobs that are necessary for a specific process, or only if the project needs specific skills. The third one is a truly connected world where information will be more abundant, richer, and will be more available to each and every one in a faster ideation and product development, where we have go-to-market strategies that are more diverse and faster, and organization reputation becomes, a critical point of enhancing and destroying real time. The fourth one is an inclusive and very diverse talent market. As you know, we are experiencing a multi-generation workplace, but let us not discount the fact that it's actually the time and the genre where millennials are taking over most of the workplace. Like in my center where I operate, I think we have around 70%, if not 80%, are actually millennials. And we recognize the fact that with the multiple generations, they increase the participation by creating segments and making more individuals work longer. Organizations that will win to develop new employment contracts and home new leadership styles will be those that are the organizations promoting inclusive and diverse talent mix. The last one is actually more of what we see as a tip of the iceberg when you say the human and machine collaboration, where you see artificial intelligence, analytics, algorithms, automations that are increasingly experienced in productions and that are influencing human decisions. Big data will be used to access knowledge. They also are used to gain insights and uncover deeper connections. An increasing array of tasks and work will be automated and will continue to have one in reducing half-life of knowledge. Organizations will continue to evolve, and this is debatable between people and versus machine. That would actually, we will take up in a while to talk about are humans still necessary when we know that robotics and artificial intelligence are practically the in thing in the business of the world, of the business of today. If we look at the effect of the technology change, so technology, we'll have to split it into the effects and the business result. On the effects, technology breakthroughs produce exponential disruption. So as we have more disruptions, we see a lot of changes that are happening, primarily because a rapid adoption of robots, autonomous vehicles, commoditized sensors, artificial intelligence are actually influencing the workplace. How business responded to this is that they're using artificial intelligence to make things happen in the faster and more effective ways. They've allowed employees to successfully engage themselves in the automation. So what we've seen and experienced is that more and more companies are trying to create programs to upskill their employees and to get used to managing and interfacing with with robotics. If you look at the social and organizational reconfiguration, as we mentioned, the more we create jobs, the more actually we mean that there are projects that each of the employees need to be engaged with. It does not necessarily mean that when you have project-based employment, your skill sets are no longer necessary. It would not be very project-based dependent and all looking at when and how to utilize the resources that you have, knowledge and skills. Knowing that millennials have joined the organizations and this is increasing, this would actually be aligned to how they look at themselves to be in this kind of environment. How business responded to this is that companies will continue to use diverse employment models to source and engage talents. And the result would be it's a purpose-built network versus hierarchies. And then the decision to do authority and create autonomy is something which we leave to the business decision leaders by creating how business should be reconfigured based on the requirement of the future. So if you look at again, if we go back to how each and everyone are connected in the future of work, we've actually been introduced to that already. This kind of program that we're having webinar, you don't see the person speaking before you, but you're actually learning based on the technology that's given. The topic that's being talked about would be more around upskilling ourselves and orienting ourselves, and very timely because disruption, I think, is a theme of PMAP this year. And what a nice way to start with a topic, which is the future of work. And I'm going to talk about not really threatening everyone, what the future of work actually should trigger everyone to be challenged to learn more skills that are necessary in reconfiguration for the business use. A truly connected world would mean that we are all connected by internet. If you look at our mobile phones, you practically have most, if not all, applications that are essential and necessary. If you want to look for a job, you have everything in your phone. If you want to take a ride, you have your application in your phone. If you want to send money and transact payments, those are actually available in your mobile phones. New media enables global and real-time communication, speeding up ideation, product development, and the go-to market strategies. Most of the businesses have responded to it by creating more platforms that are actually and should be within reach of consumer. So if you look at the e-commerce business, it's booming and enjoying the privilege of the future of work because this is actually very dependent on the expectation of the connected world. A lot of people are now dependent on how we are using and utilizing technology as our way to connect from our point to another point, which is either the service provider or the person that we wanted to communicate with. I mentioned a while ago an inclusive and a diverse talent market. The effect of it would be workforce will continue to grow membership in at least 4 generations, and those that are of previous generation will continue to enjoy, provided that they upskill themselves with the right knowledge and talent and skills necessary for the future of work. There'd be extreme longevity of allows mature and talent to stay in workforce longer. Work will also continues to be seamlessly distributed across the globe. And what a way to say that Philippines actually is one of those that are enjoying 24/7 operations that enables most, if not all, companies. For now, it's in the contact center, but moving towards back office and the technology solutions. How businesses responded to this is that organizations, out of necessity, will continue to appeal to a diverse talent pool. Companies have increasingly developed most of work outside the organization using different types of contracts, not necessarily full-time employment. You could have project employment, you could have staff augmentation, and the new leadership styles and engagement approaches addresses cultural preferences in the way companies have addressed their policies, their practices, the work design, including the pay and the benefit. It's a very interesting talent market that we will see based on the study that was created and done by SHRB. And lastly, if you look at the human and machine collaboration, the effect would be the advancement of the analytics, the algorithms, and the automation will continue. And what this would mean is we will experience and see more improvements in how each and every solutions are being offered to us by doing all the developments that we're seeing every so often as needed. And the business response would be companies finding smarter ways of using the big data, which is very much into analytics. And what we've noticed and what I've noticed is that not so many HR are into the analytics work yet. When most of the data scientists can now actually visually see and connect into their data. You could even shorten your cycle time to form some of the solutions and decisions that you need to make. And people need to be accustomed to the way computing and managing work through collaboration and doing all of this through analytics and again based on the algorithms that are available. So your stakeholders would usually and will in the future will invest so much on how each and every unit collaborates in making sure that business grow and continue to experience the future of work, which is technology based, which is more agile and more open to consider challenges that are adapted to the requirement of the future. I'm not sure if I had at this point getting some questions, but let me move forward to the nature of work and organizations in the future of work. So in the future of work, it's a mix of having the workers or the employees and organizations in this enumerated in the 8 aspects. So organization, the deployment of work would be more based on project, based on team. I mentioned a while ago, the future of work would be more dependent on collaboration. People will be more highly informed, and people should expect to be more informative. So while people are sharing information that are necessary to solve or to create a program, what we've seen is that on the 5th item, they seek for a purpose. They want to find the meaning of their career in either corporate world or in the technology space where they operate. So it encourages horizontal leadership by building trust and creating more leaders that are dependent on more on consultative over just passing on and giving instructions. It's a self-organizing organization. It's a self-organizing platform where you see people trying to make themselves available in ensuring that the resources that are given are there to be offered. And so you see people committing themselves in the way that organizations need them. and organizations at the same time commit to be fair in recognizing talents and skills. The next slide shows you the changing nature of work, which will be a freelance. So we were saying a while ago that if we have the nature of work to be more project and deployed, and they're more comfortable in project-based employment, you see more people coming in to be freelance talent. They will continue to learn. They will continue to offer themselves freely, and would probably have 2 or 3 more works that are not necessarily just contained and confined to one company. So you have loose hierarchies, new jobs created, accompanied by severe job losses for non-knowledge workers. And this is something very critical. And I encourage as an association that we pioneer and initiate the necessary creation of knowledge and technical learning upskilling programs so that we secure every job that we have right now and grow it according and adapted to the way we see the future of work in your respective organization. While the Philippines have taken the attention or have the attention of the entire world in terms of process outsourcing, we will see an increased number and competition will heighten, as a result of which more and more value-added services will be offered, not just in the voice, but in the back office, logistics, knowledge-based shared services. We will see more decentralization business model, and everyone and everything will continue to be connected. The effects of this to the business is that it will reduce barriers to entry. You have power shifts from producers to consumers. You'll have dramatic cost reductions in communications. You have a broader availability of information, and of course, a shorter strategy of life cycle. As you know, every technology, every time there's a new technology introduced, the lifespan of which, based on the interview we've had, would only be in a span of 2 or 4 weeks, and then a new technology will again be introduced. So this is very interesting, because now you see that businesses would have shorter strategy in life cycle in terms of operations, but you will still keep your long-term strategy of building growth and creating more business aligned to the direction of your companies. Let's look at the 3 predictions for the future of jobs. So the 3 predictions for the future of job is that the coming age of entrepreneurship is very high, that the advancement in technology will make self-generated livelihoods increasingly more viable. In the future of work, our work-life duality patterns may change substantially. So it's not anymore work-life balance, but rather whether you wanted to, enjoy having your retirement or working from home, it's not anymore something that should be an issue in the future of work, because people, considering that mobility is a key, then it's very important for everybody to know that this is highly acceptable. The new job robots, while they will continue to be experienced, and most of the companies and businesses will continue to adapt to it, human capital definitely will continue to coexist. Only if, and so this is the term and conditions, is that if the individuals or human capital are highly adapted to the kind of work that the new robots are actually offering. So it's an interface between robots and the skill set that human capital offers. Let's look at how CEO view the role of HR. If we shift it further to how are we supposed to operate in the aspect of having a people driver, take into consideration again technology to be there. So HR should be, like one CEO said, that HR should be actually the COO, but more focused on culture versus operations. And we talk about operations here. This is highly influenced by technology, being a platform of making sure that every work is actually powered by technology. HR leaders need to drive transformation as there will be continuous changes, experience in processes, and business strategy, which are all primarily driven by people. Again, it's all about people. And then, I'll pick up the last one. We should be actually the advisor in the board, having the CEO, the team leadership in terms of development program. From the board, if we look at the role of HR, and why are we talking about HR now shifting from the future of work? Because it is us actually who should create the future of work in your respective organization. You need to expand the role and impact of your function to the board to make sure that your experience is actually as a partner. You cannot be the same HR of the past, but you need to evolve. We all need to evolve to HR of the future, ready to integrate talent, ready to infuse technology in the way we offer learning and development to the rest of the workplace. So if you look at the board view of the role of HR, it encompasses what we've initially discussed and what I presented to you a while ago. And this is very key. Our role is very important. So the role of HR in the future will be based on this very basic slide, but it all boils down to operations excellence. And if you look at the operations excellence, it has 4 aspects of planning, attracting, aligning, and engaging, which we will discuss in details as we move on. So we believe that the 5 capabilities enabling a winning workforce will allow a set of core business capabilities to enable the workforce to win. Regardless of where and how these capabilities are delivered, we believe that the 5 forces have profound implication for the future and require organizations to think about these capabilities in a more modern way. Now, consistent to where we are in the demand, we look at plan, attract, align, and engage the workplace in a perspective where it meets organizations from where they are today and give them a runway to evolve their practices to win the future. Now, the 5 forces would actually be very important because this will create the future of job. All right, so if we look at the plan aspect, from having a business acumen in tomorrow's 2025, it will be a strategic business leadership. So what the future state looks like is that while in the past we understand that businesses was enough, in the future we will need to go to beyond a simple understanding to truly lead the business based on an understanding on how business shifts impacts the workplace. This will require actually a strong business mindset, and understanding of business conditions. Say, you have your social, your technological, economic, political, and then of course environmental. This capability co-creates the organization's strategic response to business conditions and customers' expectation by helping creating your own frame and making a sense of strategic and organization change. If you look at, and I'm pointing in the cursor on the data analysis and decision making. So in planning, it sets to on the 2025, the future of work is that to make a sense of an ever changing environment, you need to have a good sense, sense-making way of creating organization. This will require organizations to not only be able to leverage big data, to understand trends that will impact our organizations. A lot of us still would look at and be dependent on data, and then we don't even know how to use data. And we've been experiencing. I've been getting some hiring requirements of HR with strong data analysis. The sad part is that there's less of us, and this is something that we'd like to make an offer through SHRM, that we look at data analysis is already big as this time, but not all HR leaders even know how to use data analysis in making decisions, which is very critical. This will require organizations to not only be able to leverage on big data to understand trends that will impact our organizations, but that we will also be able to engage in a sound data this driven decision that will make a good one in a large volume of information to predict the future outcome. The third one is actually from change management, which has always been said to be the buzzword and keyword as of today. The future of work promotes the agile leadership. And in order to influence and lead the changes that the future will require, we must evolve from change management to change leadership. Organizations must engage and foster throughout organizations, and this is all about true agile leadership. This will include, how we anticipate change by scanning the environment, or generating confidence via clarity of vision and storytelling. Or probably even talk about initiating action via culture of execution, which is very important. And how we liberate thinking via innovation and collaboration and evaluating results in a real time with a clear metric of solution. I wish I could engage more the team, but I think we also have I'm getting a signal that I might end up. And as I mentioned, these are very interesting topics, but we can always move forward. I want you to more focus on the slide that I'm currently presenting and discussing with you right now. Is that the attraction, the alignment, the engagement? You see all the shifts that are happening, and this is very essential. You can use this as a platform. You can use this as your basis in creating your HR strategy to be true blue partners of your CEO, so that your board will continue to appreciate you. If you look at attraction, you talk about talent sourcing and how you continue to build your community. If you look at your organization and performance architecture, how do you align your rewards? How do you do your performance management? How do you do your learning and development and make it become a platform ready to absorb and adapt to the future of work? If you look at the engagement, from a mere employer branding to an employee experience, from OD to now culture orchestration, from employee engagement to community engagement, and so on. This will all resound to making you become ready for the future of work. Now, if you talk about the future of work in HR, let's look at the future of jobs. What kind of jobs will be there, and will your organizations be able to hire, or is this something that you see that your organizations will have in the future? And I'll have this quickly through. So if you're in the healthcare, you'll have telesurgeons that are actually very dependent on looking at and managing an operations via computer. So it's very interesting that this is actually happening, and a first world problem. A telesurgeon will eventually be a demand of the future. You have nostalgists. You don't hire nostalgists at this moment, but these people create what you want to remember as a culture and create recreation. I think this time it's more of the events management organizer. You have them, they offer themselves. The nostalgists will now be dependent on technology and see how they build stories about your life and connecting it to the future of work. You have the Rewilder, the agriculture, very dependent on technology, checking on uh, the how crops are being raised, whether they're impacted by viruses and so on. But the future of work will have the Rewilder. You have the garbage designer, which are the manufacturing and in the construction, where they pick up ideas and build them and make a construction idea out of that. They'll continue to create to pick up all the thoughts in creating more products and in creating more structures, designs. So they'll be called our garbage designer. You have your robot counselor. In our current times, this is your 1-800. In the US, if they're failing not to keep their financials healthy, you have your counselor. In the future, dial 1-800. A robot counselor will actually help you. They'll help you in also booking for your hotel, buying your products via your e-commerce, checking your transportation, location, and so on and so forth. You have your health navigator, which would manage to know about the history of every individual in your company. They will track the checkups and the availments of the benefit. Gather the days that you'll have to look at how many usage. Here it's very dependent on the history of every individual. You have the aquaponic fisher farmer and the agriculture again, which should continue to raise, school of fishes that are very important for us to think. So very interesting. If you look at it, it's not anymore dependent on how big is your pond. You can actually create this in your own backyard if your backyard is big enough. So you may want to have this adopted as early as this time. You have your solar technology specialists where utilities and infrastructure will continue to be a key and important aspect of every businesses. And so this will drive more, savings out of your cost management. So the future of HR is actually on us, and I think I need to end my presentation here. And I'd be happy to connect with everyone. Should you need the research material that I've shared with you, please connect to me, and I presented my email address. That's at ikamasura@asiaselect.com.ph, or you may connect to the research department of PMAP, and I'm sure everyone would be happy to assist with you. So I thank everyone for joining this webinar. I thank PMAP for allowing me to speak before the membership. I look forward to meeting you all in the future, PMAP. And thanks everyone. And I don't know if we have other questions. I think so I see questions here. Again, I mentioned whether you can get a copy of the slides. Please connect with me so that we can send you a copy of the slides. There's another question. How would you score the readiness of the Philippine organization becoming ready for the future of work? Actually, to be honest, we are lagging behind. While we're number one in the outsourcing industry, when we attended the HR Technology Conference in India, they're actually like 5 years ahead of us. By technology platform, we need to adapt ourselves more and become more comfortable trying to integrate and infuse technology to be a tool of the future, which is available now. Because we should remember that the future of work is not of years to come. While it's said to be in future 2020, year 2020, or year 2025, the future of work is actually now. And if we're not ready, what are we doing? And if you're ready, we need to rethink of your strategy, align your structure, think of the tools that you have right now, and ask yourself if you're there yet. Okay? So with that, thank you everyone, and I look forward to meeting you again in PMAP. Thanks to the organizer who are with me in this hall, and we'll see each other in PMAP. Thank you.